Welcome to the Bargain Bin Podcast, a show where we talk about 50p DVDs from a famous video shop that we can't name. I'm your host, Jack.
I'm also your host, Nick.
And I'm also your host, Adam.
Wow, three
And
hosts.
today we're going to talk about two films, and maybe some more. Who knows? It's up to whatever we decide. We're going to start off with Cradle to the Grave with a 2 instead of TO. Nick,
Yes.
why don't you start us off with your opinions on this film?
What was the story, Nick?
Cradle to the Grave was the 2003 action crime drama starring Jet Li and the famous rapper DMX. You know? X gon' give it to you. That guy. He starred in this film alongside Jet Li. It was about a diamond theft, but the diamonds turned out to be like nuclear weapons or something, and there was lots of kung fu and also lots of heisty things, and it was a bit rubbish.
I think a bit rubbish is a bit of an understatement, to be honest. I absolutely hated this film.
Are you kidding me? The end fight, that's great. Where it's raining, but it's not raining, and
It's
Jet Li's
only-
in a fire ring doing wind chow against another guy. Against the guy from Iron Chef.
Yep. Mark Dacascos. I can't say his last name. The guy from Iron Chef, the guy that's in the John Wick 3 trailer. There's just only one scene I can remember that I want to talk about, which is...
What, the bit in the strip club?
No, the other bit. We can't talk about that on the podcast, Adam. Come on. Jet Li is in like a UFC cage fight. Wow, X gon' give it to you is playing over the top, and it's the only bearable bit of the movie.
And then X Gon' Give It To You ends, and the scene continues.
The scene continues with no music.
As DMX is on a quad bike being chased by several police, and the guy who owns the quad bike's on a motocross bike across downtown LA. It's a weird kind of montagey thing, but all the Jet Li stuff's great. He's punching people. He's punching the guy from Jackass. Wee Man?
Wee Man.
Yeah. He's punching Wee Man, and that's great. Apart from that, it's not much else.
No.
Really ham-fisted the whole evil New World Order doomsday plot about these diamonds, which are actually like 10 times more powerful than plutonium for like an inch of the size. It's really dumb. They kidnapped DMX's kid, so he's got like a reason to do the whole thing. It's very loosely done.
And then whenever he gets like really angry over the fact that they stole his kids, it's hilarious watching DMX trying to act. The terrible title, which not only sounds terrible, but it has no relevance to the plot whatsoever. Like, it's just a series of numbers and letters that just mean absolutely nothing. Following that, the opening title sequence is awful. It looks like something that someone at like an A-level graphic design course could have made. It's really bare bones, and it has like an Eminem song playing in the background, and it was pretty bad. And the editing is terrible. There's loads and loads of cuts into fight scenes, which I don't really understand because Jet Li is like actually decent at fighting, so you know there was no reason to have loads of cuts. There's loads of random shots that aren't needed. You can just have like someone looking like into the distance or whatever, and you have 3 different shots of it for no reason. And there's also really bad slow-mo that it is used for like no reason. Like when someone gets out of a car, they just have slow-mo. Don't know why it was included. There's also like a lot of audio that was dubbed in post, and it like looks and sounds terrible. It's really noticeable. The mouth movements of the characters don't match up with the audio whatsoever, and it's really noticeable, and it really annoyed me. Camera movements are very erratic, like constantly moving for no reason, which gets like ridiculously bad in action sequences, especially like chases as well, which just make it like really hard to watch, and you just have no idea what's going on because you can't follow the scene. There's also in these like action sequences as well, there's so many like stock sound effects used for fighting, like a punch sound effect, and it's just like the sound editor just had a bunch of stock sound effects and decided he needed to use every single one of them, and it sounds awful. Like, it just makes it like really amateur, and it isn't great. The music is really uninspired, it's very generic and gets boring after about 10 seconds. The acting is also awful. Jet Li I thought might be okay, but he wasn't. He didn't care about doing this film at all. DMX is pretty bad as well, but surprisingly isn't the worst person in this film. Like, all of the side characters are absolutely terrible. The kid acting is awful. Like, she's so bad every time she opens her mouth on screen. It's terrible. The writing is awful as well. There are so many cringeworthy lines that every time they say it, you just sigh, because you're just like, okay, I could write a better film than this. The plot is also boring, to save the world plot, and it's stupid. Doesn't really make any sense. It's just about bad in every single way, and I absolutely despised it.
Thanks for that dissertation on Cradle to the Grave, Jack. I really enjoyed it. I listened to every word, and I agree with every word.
So do I.
You know, I think I probably could write a dissertation on this film about how much I hated it.
Well, you've
I
got
could
one
just
coming up.
expand
Yeah,
every point to like 1,000 words, and I could do it.
You've got one coming up, so think about it.
Why was it called Cradle to the Grave? That's what really bugged me.
Exactly, that was the point I made. I made that point because it's stupid.
From the cradle to the
It's like
grave.
piss-
I did really, really think about it. Just like,
It's a cool saying.
I know.
isn't it?
I googled it. I googled it to make sure that there was no like reason to use it, and it doesn't mean anything. Like cradle, the only thing that I found was that cradle is like the beginning of life and grave is the end. But
well done,
well
Jack.
done,
nobody
Jack.
dies.
I couldn't figure that one out.
done.
No, all right. I couldn't find any other like thing on why this title made any sense.
It's because it
and
sounds
so,
cool, Jack,
like,
and they got to replace a word with a letter.
That annoyed me. That
Not
it
a
wasn't
word
the
with a
sequel.
letter,
I
a
assumed
word
this was
with
the
a
sequel.
number.
I wish this film was in the 90s.
I wish this film
Because
was
then
the
it would have made
sequel.
a bit more sense, but it wasn't. It was early 2000s, which is 2003. It's 3 years too late to be using numbers in title.
Well, quick spoiler alert, but did you think the death at the end of the guy from Iron Chef was pretty cool? Where
I can't even remember how he died.
Jet
what the
Li-
fact that he got
Jet Li
no,
puts,
that
like, the
made no
bomb in
sense
his-
either. This very much annoyed me because you had this stone that literally had the power of like 10 Hiroshima bombs, and then he puts it in his throat, and all it does is melt him. Like, no, that should have destroyed like the entire city.
Let's talk about the one thing I really remember from this film is the over and unnecessary way of opening a bank vault in the very opening. I don't know if you remember or you even care, but the way they did it was they broke in. They did a very offensive stereotype of a gay man trying to flirt with another gay man.
This was right at the start, so I was paying attention.
And we both called it going, I bet they're going to do the whole it's gay, and then they're going to have to get a guy to do it. And then they did it, and it was pretty awful.
Yeah.
And then DMX and his crew that's what they are on the subway, and they break into this vault, and they want to get behind the big steel door or whatever. And so what they do is they liquid nitrogen the inside of it, which was pretty intense. And we discussed it that DMX is not wearing any protective gear apart from gloves, but he's like in a
He's wearing like a tight
vest,
black vest,
but wearing
and he's
gloves.
got sparks flying everywhere and liquid nitrogen, and he's just in a vest.
He's like, I'm hard and cool. It's not going to affect me. They freeze it, and then to break the vault, instead of like using a conventional sledgehammer, they start setting up this really elaborate contraption with like tripods and stuff, and you're wondering what's going on. And then they attach a rocket to the door with a rope, and they fire the rocket. The rocket just shoots off in the other direction, blows up a picture frame, and just rips the door off. It just seems very over the top and super 2000s and super unnecessary.
I've got to say, I thought this was a better heist than both Tower Heist and The Score.
It's better than Score, but you ever say anything wrong about Tower Heist again, I'll fight you in this very room.
You're going to have to save your strength for when we fight Cinescope. That's right, Cinescope versus Bargain Bin, coming soon.
Fight me. They're going to fight Jack.
June 2020.
They're going to fight us in 3 different styles. So they're going to take Jack on in a sumo wrestle style arena. Nick's got cage fighting, and I want the ancient art of martial art, but like Crouching Tiger, where we're on the top of like a tree. I don't know how we're going to set that one up. But
You just have to. You only have like a number of like bamboo trees to fight in, and you just have to like hop between them to fight.
So yeah, we'll set that one up, and it'll be the best thing ever. Nick's just had a horrible flash of him being an MMA fighter and just getting kicked repeatedly in the chest.
I mean, like, The Score is boring, and like this at least is entertaining because it's so bad. So I guess it might be a little bit better than The Score, but like nowhere near as good as Tower Heist. Tower Heist wasn't good, but at least it wasn't like this. This film is awful. I hate it.
I hate you.
Do you not like the tank bit? I love the tank bit.
The tank bit.
No,
They
that
brought
was
the
stupid
tank
as
in.
well.
What tank?
Everything about this film is
What do
either
you mean,
poorly
what
done or
tank?
stupid.
It ends with a tank.
Does it?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
big
he shoots
black
a
guy
helicopter,
and the skinny
which
white
doesn't
guy
make-
who are
which
like the
he-
buddy cop bring in the
Helicopter?
tank. Yeah, Iron Chef is escaping on a helicopter, and then the tank shoots it down. The buddy cop team shoot it down, and then Jet Li goes to fight him in the fire of Circle of fire.
I remember the circle of fire. I don't remember a tank or a helicopter.
Okay,
Bear in mind,
the tank
though,
made the
that he
helicopter
shoots down the
explode.
helicopter, which has a piece of uranium type thing in it that has the power of like 10 nuclear bombs, and they just shoot it down with the tank. We'll just blatantly disregard.
I don't remember. I was playing Scrabble on my phone, so
To be honest, the entire
blame
thing that he just kept the little rock with the nuclear bomb thing in it was stupid. He could have just left it there, and Jet Li could have just like shot him or like punched him a ton, and that's how he died, as opposed to like destroying any sense of like credibility this film had.
I remember
with its plot.
the bit where he like shoved one of the diamonds down his throat and made like a nuke in his throat, and that's how he killed him.
I kind of love it how bad it is. It's that beautiful awful.
Let's give this film a score.
No,
Adam,
we've already watched the score.
Jack, out of 10 black nuclear diamonds, how many would you give this film for a score?
I'd give it -10 black nuclear diamonds out of 10 because this film is utter trash and I hate it.
All right, Nick. How many Jet Li's falling down balconies would you give this out of 10?
A 2.
Only 2 balconies.
A 2.
You can just go downstairs for that, really.
Yeah. Adam, how many tanks and helicopters out of 10 would you give it?
I would give this 1 tank and 2 helicopters out of 10, mainly because there is 1 tank in this. They shoot down 1 helicopter, but a different helicopter explodes. And that was Cradle to the Grave. Watch it. It's a really bad early 2000s action film with a rapper. You know, they always make these occasionally. You might as well watch it. It's kind of
Watch
bad.
it.
It's bad, but you know, it's one of those ones you go,
Adam,
it's like watching a Steven Seagal movie.
Adam, guess what?
What?
It's time for a game. Jack, game theme tune.
Dun 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 game.
That's right. It's time for our weekly game. Quick, make a movie. Whose turn is it this week?
I think it should be Jack's.
Okay. Who
'Cause I
did
don't
it
wanna
last
do it.
week?
Oh, we didn't do it last week.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, did we?
No, we didn't.
Which one was the Gandhi episode? Best
That was the
episode.
week before. I did it last time.
Best episode? Best episode.
Okay, so quick make a movie. If you don't know how it works, 2 of us are going to say a character, a film, a location, or something like that, and the other one has to quickly do a 1-minute elevator pitch and combine the 2 things to make an original concept movie. This week, me and Adam are going to say a word each. We'll go one after the other, and then Jack will be doing his elevator pitch. Okay, Adam, what's your word for this week?
Gonna give you a little heads up. Mine is going to be a location.
Okay.
Okay. Mine is the dumping ground from the hit CBB show Tracy Beaker.
The kids' home called the dumping ground.
Yep.
My character is Malcolm Tucker from The Thick of It, played by Peter Capaldi.
Okay.
So get ready, Jack.
Get ready, Jack.
How long do we give
10,
him?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quick, make a movie.
Okay, so the basic premise of this is that Malcolm Tucker decides, you know what, I want to adopt a kid, and so he goes to the dumping grounds, and he, the carers are really nice, whatever, and he's obviously just Malcolm Tucker, and he goes around to each and every single one of the kids throughout the film, and just like tears into them, says how much of a awful person they are, blah 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 blah, until he reaches Tracy Beaker, and then he decides, whoa, she's just as jaded as I am. This could be a really great bonding moment, and then he takes her to the Houses of Parliament, and she becomes an MP. The end.
Wow, that was good. I'm very surprised you didn't either A, do a Scottish accent, or B, at least drop one swear word we had to cut out.
Or C, mention
Oh
how
no,
annoying
because
Tracy
that's the thing.
Beaker is.
I wanted to, but then I was like, no, I'm just gonna have to whoever's editing is gonna have to cut it out anyway.
Yeah, Jack, well done.
That was really
Well
good,
played.
Jack.
That was it. I told Adam before, let's go for a kids show and like the most offensive swearing character we can think of. So we came up with that and thought we'd throw you a curveball, but you dealt with it well.
You dealt with that very well. I couldn't think of any other kids shows. Maybe MI High?
Scooby-Doo.
Do you remember-
MI High.
Do you remember MI High?
Malcolm Tucker is the head of Mystery Incorporated in Scooby-Doo.
He'd just kick
watched
Scooby, wouldn't
that.
he?
I watch Malcolm Tucker in anything.
You know, do you mean the actor or do you mean the character?
No, I mean the
Mike?
character. And that was Quick, Make a Movie.
Jack, theme tune.
Quick, make a movie. It's quick, make a movie. It's the game we play.
Can you tell we're not music students?
No.
Pew. That's the sound of an arrow because That's what happens in Rambo, but we didn't watch Rambo this week. We watched Son of Rambo with a W from 2007.
Son of Rambo, I watched this film probably around the time it came out. I remember it being good. On the rewatch, it was all right.
I loved it.
It's like
quite cute, quite
charming,
fun.
cutesy
Very
film.
charming. It's Gareth Jennings. You may remember him from such hits as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy film, which I really like. Sing, which was that animated show about all the animals learning to
He's
sing.
like the Animal X Factor.
Yeah, and the
Isn't
gorilla
that
and stuff.
terrible?
Yeah.
No, apparently, really highly rated on IMDb. Apparently, it's pretty all right. Good message and all that about being
The
different.
environment.
He also directed the Fatboy Slim music video Right Here, Right Now.
What's Son of Rambo about, Jack?
Son of Rambo is about two friends who don't really kind of seem like they would be friends, but they end up becoming friends later on as they try to remake the original Rambo First Blood using just their camera and their imagination.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. Yeah, good, charming.
Good. Bill Milner is the main kid character.
He's gone on to do many things.
Here's there's Will Poulter. He's
Yeah.
he's that
gone on
kid
to do many things.
that looks. I'm gonna say it. He's that ugly one.
No, he's just got like bad eyebrows.
Yeah.
No, he's just really pointy. Not a big fan of him, but he's great in this. He was in a film with John Boyega. What's that called? Detroit. Apparently, that was all right as well. He plays.
He's actually a pretty good actor.
He plays
to be fair.
He is.
bully character in this. Bully kind of.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's the bully character. He's the one that.
He bullies him at the start, but he's actually a loner and he just
Yeah.
wants to be loved by his brother
Yeah,
because
yeah.
his parents aren't.
That's what the next sentence was going to be, Nick.
He's not a bully.
I know. He opens as the bully character and he
just
grows to
lonely.
love because he's mistreated.
He's like me. He's not really a bully. He's just lonely.
And you're a bit of a psychopath.
No.
He shot the other kid with a crossbow at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have really easily killed him.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been
A
like
lot of points in this
quite
film.
funny if it just end of film. He just kills this kid.
Yeah, a lot of points in this film. The main character he's been roped into this film to be like the stunt Rambo character, and he's just put in every situation which would be, yep, you're dead now. Like he's
At
flung
one
into
point,
buildings
he
and stuff.
almost drowns in like a vat of oil.
Yeah,
It is quite scary.
it's pretty like dark towards the end of all the violent stuff that happens to him. But
My favourite character is the French exchange student because the French
Yes.
exchange student is really cool and he finds out they're remaking Rambo and he wants to be involved, and they have this random French kid in the film doing like kung fu and they cut it all out at the end and it's great.
he's pretty good in it. And we definitely didn't start calling him Jack every time he turned into the screen, appeared on the screen.
Turned into the screen.
I don't know. what
You
that
okay,
sentence
Adam?
was.
Do you need to lie down?
I thought
Audio
the like
jokes.
animation that they did were pretty cool. That like to show the main kid's like imagination and like how much of like a large imagination he has, because obviously he can't like watch TV, or I don't know whether he can read books, but he obviously like can't watch TV because of his
I don't get
like,
that. I don't know
his
much about
religious
religion,
family.
but what religion was he supposed to be? Was he Christian?
Some kind of off-brand of
I
Christianism.
don't think you can say off-brand.
Not off-brand, but like a subsection of Christianity.
Audi
Tesco.
A subsection of Christianity where they don't allow like any technology or anything. Almost like Amish kind of.
Do you mean the Amish?
Amish. My mate Amish.
Oh, your mate Amish can't watch TV, can he?
No. Yeah, the Amish.
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was very quaint. The religious kind of subplot about him, all that kind of disappears and only reappears when it's more the family stuff. But that wasn't particularly interesting. But when it was just the kids and their imagination and them going for all the scenes in the film, I really enjoyed all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good little
Yeah.
movie.
It's very cute. All the
Worth a
scenes.
watch.
I liked how the blonde kid, Lee Carter, is that the character's name?
Lee Carter.
Hey, I love you, Lee Carter. He's dressed like Kaz from Metal Gear Solid 5 the whole way through.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of this film.
That's a
It's just
reference I
that.
understand and I'm laughing at.
Do you get it?
Yeah,
Okay, I can't tell.
definitely get it.
Do you get
Metal Gear Solid 5
Also,
is my
they-
favourite video game
It's
of
a great
all
video
time.
game.
Their British accents like started to annoy me because like I don't know about the main kid. but, like,
am. I'm a little British kid. I sound like
Yeah.
Jack.
Exactly. So, like, obviously, like I know Will Poulter doesn't sound like that, like normally. So they were obviously putting on accents, and it was, I don't know, it got really obnoxious as the film went on. Like, I just wanted to be like, okay, we get it, they're British. You don't need to sound like this the entire film, it annoyed me. I don't like, obviously, British accents in films.
What about if they're British, Jack? Like Jessica Haynes, which is in this film. She's like this British actor that always turns up in like Mitchell and Webb stuff. She's a lot in Paddington too.
She's like Mitchell and Webb stuff, Simon Pegg stuff, Nick Frost stuff. She's in Space, like the main
She's
one
the
of the main character in Spaced.
Secondary main character.
Spaced is great. You should go and watch it because it's great the first time you watch it, but maybe don't revisit it.
I think it's one of those
Is
ones.
that the Simon Pegg sitcom?
Yeah, it's the first Edgar Wright one.
Yeah, Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, the TV show they did before any of the
where
movies.
they all became friends.
Yeah, it's real good.
It's real good fun. Got a fact about that.
Yeah.
I think it's like episode 3 where Nick Frost is reassembling and deassembling a gun blindfolded. His character is he got kicked out of the TA, just to fill you in. When he was practicing for that scene, because he really did it, he really disassembled a gun blindfolded, even though I don't think they show it in the show. He was practicing in his garden, and he put the blindfold on, and he was disassembling the gun. It's a fake prop gun. His neighbour was over the fence, saw it, called the armed police guard. They snuck into his house, covertly, I guess, so not to, scare a guy with a gun. He took off the blindfold, and he found several armed police officers pointing guns at him. And he's like, oh, hello. And I think that's happened to him twice, because he did it for another film. So he's not had the best of luck with that kind of stuff.
Good old Nick Frost.
But then looping back round, because this is how you do proper segues in radio,
Nice.
Edgar Wright has a cameo in this film.
Does he?
Yeah, he is. He's one of the teachers.
Who, Nick Frost?
No,
Edgar Wright. Can you hear anything we're saying?
Oh.
Yeah, he's one of
No,
the...
I hear about half of what you're saying.
Yeah, so he's one of the teachers that is in the background, because the director also appeared in Shaun of the Dead.
You know who the main teacher is that speaks?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Bloody
boiling,
boiling.
Jackie. Yeah, he's Martin from Friday Night Dinner.
He's a great character in Friday Night Dinner. I love Friday Night Dinner.
Friday Night Dinner's good.
But just before we finish, quick other bits of trivia that I've noted down, which are probably important for no apparent reason. If you're a fan of celebrity cameos, the comedian Adam Buxton, I quite like him. He used to do a TV show called Bug. He turns up, he's the guy that gets the tweezers stuck up his nose right before the fire alarm goes off when the guide dog goes through the window, which is a really fantastic scene. And also, one of the French kids' entourage had to wear sunglasses all the way through the production, not because of they wanted him to look cool, but instead because he kept looking into camera every time he was on screen. And since they had already hired him, the director was like, oh, just someone cover him up. So that's why one of the kids is wearing sunglasses in every single shot, even indoors.
Nice. Okay, time for our patented bargain bin professional ratings. Jack, out of how many crossbow bolts would you give this movie out of 10?
I'd give this a 6 crossbow bolts out of 10.
Okay. Thank you, Jack Goodman, our American correspondent, live from Missouri.
Cutting back into the studio here, reporter Nick Harris, how many flying guide dog statues would you give this out of 10?
I'm going to go with 6 flying guide dog statues out of 10, Adam Dokhan of the Bargain Bin Podcast. And yourself, Adam Dokhan of the Bargain Bin Podcast.
Thank you, Nick Harris of the Bargain Bin Podcast on Brayford Radio.
How many, out of 10 that is, how many...
out of 10, right?
Out of 10.
Okay.
How many kids drowning in oil would you give this?
Out of 10, right?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Out of 10 on Brayford Radio.
Out of 10.
I would give this 7 drowning kids in black tar oil, but I'd also add one more to 8, because then that kid is also covered in several sheets of metal and debris and a building as well.
That's a reference you'll get if you've seen Son of Rambo.
Watch the film, it's pretty good, and it's 50p.
So this week, there weren't that many trailers out that we felt we needed to talk about. There was a second trailer for Brightburn and a second trailer for Tolkien, but we've already talked about those films and those trailers. So instead, we're just going to have a little chat about some random films we've watched this week.
Film chat.
We're going to start off 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Jack mentioned in our end of 2018 review that Hereditary was one of his favourite films of the year, and I watched that film last night, so we're going to have a little chat about that. Jack said he loved it and it was his favourite film of the year, wasn't that right, Jack?
Indeed, I still hold true that I love that film. It's great, even on a second or a third viewing. Still great.
I thought Hereditary was, drum roll please, just okay.
When have you ever thought a film was just more than just okay?
I think that of many films, but just none of the ones we ever talk about on the podcast. Yeah, Hereditary. It wasn't spooky. It was more of like a creepy, atmospheric horror.
I mean, to be fair, that's what I said it was. I
Yeah.
said like it's like it just has a really oppressive atmosphere, and you just kind of feel
There were
like on edge a lot of the time,
Bits-
which invokes like The Shining. Like when I watched The Shining, like that similar vibe, which I love.
I
So
get what you mean, but it didn't give me that vibe. I could tell they were going for that vibe, but I didn't get it. There were some parts which were good, some parts which were and then some parts which were laughably bad, I must admit. There's like two, there's arguably the two biggest like shock moments in it. It's like when those two happened. I'm gonna write spoilers for Hereditary if you haven't seen it. If you care about this, don't listen. At one point, a young girl is having an allergic reaction in the back of a car, and she sticks her head out the window to get some air, and her head hits a lamppost and comes off. It's supposed to be like this big shock moment quite early on in the movie. It's supposed to be harrowing, but I must admit I laughed because it just looked hilarious, not gonna lie. And then later on in the film, just a man like bursts on fire and then burns to death in the middle of a room. That's supposed to be another shock moment like that, but it was hilarious to watch, I must admit.
to be fair, the second one when the guy burst on fire, that was like I didn't laugh at it, but it was like humorous. But I don't know, the first one, I can see why you thought that, but I still like because I wasn't expecting it at all. Because the only thing like that I'd seen of this film were like the posters and maybe like one trailer or something. So I thought that this little girl was like a massive part of the film, and so when it turns out she dies 20 minutes in, like that genuinely shocked me because I wasn't expecting it.
That is,
so.
I thought she was going to be like the main character throughout, but I had it spoiled that she dies in it, but I didn't expect it to be so soon. And I knew that she lost her head, but I didn't know how. But when it was coming up to that bit, it was kind of obvious.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't expect it at all, and so like it really shocked me.
Maybe if I didn't expect it, it wouldn't have been funny. But I kind of saw where it was going, so I didn't get that shock value. I kind of guessed what was going to happen. But yeah, Hereditary overall, there were some really good ideas and concepts in it. I must admit, I do like the ending of it. I did like. I think that was the strongest point, where it's like this whole thing, you guessing all the way through, some weird Ouija stuff going on, and then at the end it's like, oh, it's actually this cult that like supports Satan, and they're like trying to transfer Satan's spirit to another body or whatever. That was like cool. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is going to get interesting, and then it kind of just ends on that bombshell, which is like. I like, but I also was like, oh, I wanted more of that cult stuff in it.
I liked how it ended though, because it kind of left it up to, I'm not gonna say like interpretation, but as in like it's kind of like, okay, what was his name, like Aemon or something? Because it wasn't Satan. It was like another like Hell Lord or something.
Eighth Lord of Hell or something.
Could they not get the rights to Satan or something?
It's basically a demon.
The big guy, Big Cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, Payman.
But yeah, I thought acting wise, Tony Colletti did a really good job acting, and so did, is it Alex Scott, the guy who played the son?
Alex Wolff.
Alex Wolff, he was really good as the son. Yeah, acting, it was all good. But overall, is it worth watching? I don't know.
I still definitely think it is. Like I think that if you
if you
like horror film, well, I don't know. I think it's the kind of thing that like now that we've talked about it and we've spoiled it, I think it's like less worth watching. But I think it's like really really good on like a first watch, knowing nothing going in, watching it, and then on like a second or a third watch, seeing all of the little things, like knowing what's going to happen, and you see a lot of stuff in the background, a lot of hints, and like there's so many little like hints throughout that I really enjoyed it.
Yep, so Hereditary, Jack really enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. Some good parts, some bad parts. Meh, overall.
Yeah.
But we're going to move on. We're going to talk now about another movie which we've all watched, one that I watched with Adam last week on Jack's recommendation, actually, called The Lobster, which is...
Yes, The Lobster. Such a good film.
It's filmed by Yorgos Lanthimos,
yeah.
the guy who directed The Favourite this year. and The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is another great film which you should watch. I recommend that to you, Jack, actually, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I've heard good things about it, so I do
It's
need to get
very
around to
good.
watching it at some
I'd watch
point.
that. But yeah, The Lobster, I don't want to say too much about this because I went in with no clue what it was and was really pleasantly surprised with how weird and creepy it was. But the basic premise is it's illegal to be single, and if you're single, you get sent to a hotel where you have to find a life partner, and if you don't find someone to fall in love with, you get turned into an animal. And that's kind of the plot at the beginning, and it kind of spins off from there in all kinds of weird directions.
Existential question. What animal would you be?
I thought about this a lot while watching the movie, and I came up with two answers.
Can we both guess them?
Okay,
Can
guess
me and
which
Jack can go
animal I would
first.
be.
I feel that Nick would want to be a dog. Like, even though that's like a point brought up in the film that like everybody wants to be a dog, but I feel like Nick
Jack,
would be.
you know I don't like dogs, right?
Exactly.
Oh, you don't like dogs? I know
No.
you're more of a cat person, but I thought you still like didn't mind
Maybe
dogs.
it's like the Golden Compass, where you have like this ethereal creature, which is the opposite of you, since you're the opposite
Maybe.
of that.
Have you
dog.
got a guess? Jack was completely wrong. Have you got a guess?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know those really prickly caterpillars?
Yeah,
Not that.
not that.
A little Shetland pony.
No. My two answers would be either an eagle or like just a massive like
So
bird
big-headed,
of, a
aren't you?
massive bird of prey. So why not? If my mind was in an eagle, you'd just fly about. It'd be so cool.
You would hit a telegraph pole
But,
immediately.
Or like a giant crocodile, like 10 foot long, 12 foot long, just going raw in the water and eating stuff and rolling about.
That's interesting.
What animal would you? If you
I think
got,
the eagle's a good shout. I think that's probably like one of the best choices that you could make.
I've definitely seen this film. The question I have, because it wasn't made clear in the film, when you become that animal, do you have the innate skills of that animal, or are you just a bloke that is now that animal?
No, you have like the.
So if you became a bird,
I'd be able to fly.
okay, I still think you'd go straight into a telegraph pole. I want to be a squid.
A squid.
A squid. Also, if you become an animal that needs a different environment to live in, and you
You get sent to that environment.
I'll be a
It's fine.
squid, like a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you?
And then
be,
you could
Jack?
be eaten.
What animal would you be?
I'd fight the Japanese.
Animal that I would be. I think the eagle is a really good.
Can't have the eagle.
good
There's already
idea,
been an
but then,
eagle.
like, other than that, maybe
The eagles are gone.
like
Quick.
a sacred cow in India, because then I
Ooh.
would never be killed.
Very nice. Although this film is set somewhere that's not India, so you would probably be killed for meat.
Or milk.
Yeah, no,
furiously.
but it's only a sacred cow specifically in India.
Well, no,
and then
you don't
if-
get
if-
to
if I
choose.
can't
You
get
don't
sent
get to
India,
choose
then
where in the
it's,
world you
I don't
are.
know, like, I'll be a dog. Like, I'll be the most boring choice. I don't care. Like, being a dog will be alright.
One thing I've noticed throughout all Yorgos Lotham and
Lotham and
all
Man.
Yorgoses, we're on first name basis. All Yorgos'
Yorgos.
films is like the acting in The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer. Everyone is almost robotic, but also at the same time kind of, I'm not sure if this is PG to say, but kind of speaks kind of autistically. They're like autistic robots in their delivery of lines and the way they stand and speak, and it's very deliberate and on purpose, and it works really well with like the weirdness of his films. Do you agree, Jack?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I haven't seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, but I think it works really well in this
Yeah.
because, like, it's kind of because they're being like made to conform to like this specific way of living. I like the fact that it represents their speaking of just like they like don't really have any control in it, anything to do with their lives, so they just speak like this because like they don't really know any other way to speak.
Yeah. Colin Farrell as well. His performance in The Lobster was really good. Same. He's the main character in Killing of a Sacred Deer as well. Also very good.
He's
in
also
that.
in The Favourite as well. I don't think he's a very big role in it, but he's in it.
You know Colin Farrell, of course, from Phone Booth, which we reviewed a few weeks ago. Highly recommend The Lobster to everyone listening, and also Killing of a Sacred Deer. Jack, watch Killing of a Sacred Deer this week and let me know next week on next week's episode what you think of it. Do you know anything about the plot or anything?
No, I know literally
Okay,
nothing.
good.
Great
Go
name,
in.
though.
Go into it.
No spoilers. I actually don't want any
Completely blind.
spoilers
Go
for it.
into it
I just want to
completely
go in,
blind.
just watch it.
Very good.
I watched Lego Movie 2.
Lego Movie 2. Tell me about Lego Movie 2, Adam.
It's great. It's really good. It's really like self-aware. Right, you've seen the first one?
Yeah.
Seen the first one, Jack?
I've seen the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the premise of the first one is Lego's alive in that world, and the big twist at the end, which they kept out of the trailers quite well, is that it's not, and it's actually in this kid's basement, and it's all a metaphor for him and his dad not seeing eye to eye, and the dad being really controlling and not letting his son be creative with the Lego and stuff. And the big end is like they come together and they play. Obviously, that was a really good twist, and is it Colin Firth?
No,
Farrell.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. It's the other way around. Will Ferrell is really good in that bit. It's really like heartwarming. It's probably the best thing he's been in since like Anchorman, because he's rubbish in everything else he does.
Because every Will Ferrell movie is
What do you
terrible.
not mean? Holmes and Watson wasn't a 10 out of 10 film.
That was so bad it got dropped from Netflix.
No, so bad they tried to sell it to Netflix, and even Netflix went, nah.
No, they had the rights.
They don't let
we'll put it
anything
on,
on their
and then the
platform.
initial. No, you can keep it. So for this film instead, because you can't go anywhere after that, it's quite really obvious in the trailers that it's his sister
Yeah.
is going to be a big part of this, and they really quickly go into a lot of the real world stuff is happening in the Lego world and stuff. They go backwards and forwards between the two characters and their arguments, and you can really see the ending coming because everything's like the puns are really obvious. So it's kind of downgraded a little bit from the first one, but the humor is still there. It's really funny. It's very satirical in some bits. It's very self-aware of what it is. Like, it ends twice. They do the whole ending scene when something really bad happens, and then the actual characters fight against the edit of it ending, so there's a happier ending. There's loads of new cameos and stuff from actors and characters. It's quite a real fun romp. It's
Worth a watch, definitely.
It's worth a watch. It's definitely nowhere near as good as the first one. Like, the first one is like an all-round great film for like oh, it's a great kids film, and then there's an ending which makes you go, oh my god, I've all these happy memories and be happy and stuff. But this one can't cover that. But it's a whole different dynamic, I think,
Right.
and it plays really well.
Decent. I'll wait until it's out and available, not illegally, but wait until it's available online. Watched what else have I watched this week?
I hope this show just comes
Can I
into...
give him one?
Yeah, Jack, you give us one.
Okay, so it's relatively old now, but Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched that this week.
I like
and
that.
That film's really good.
Really enjoyable.
Like Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence are actually like really, really good in it. Like Jennifer Lawrence, I feel like keeps on getting a lot of roles that like don't really showcase her acting ability, and so you kind of like start to forget that she's actually a really good actor.
Yeah, I was going to say
Um,
that's like the only thing
That was
I've
a breakaway
remembered. Sarah,
from,
is
like,
the
Hunger
no,
Games.
It's
Like-
the. Can I finish my sentence, please? Yeah, it's the only thing I can remember Jennifer Lawrence actually being a good actress in that I've ever seen her in.
I don't know, like I
'Cause, like,
I
Hunger
feel like
Games,
there's
she's
probably
just
something else
okay.
as well, but like she is really, really good in this. Like, and Bradley Cooper is as well, who I also feel is like another actor that he's in a lot of films that like aren't that great, and so you forget that he's actually a decent actor. But I think like this and A Star Is Born, he's like apparently good in that as well.
Yeah.
So and just like everything about Silver Linings Playbook was great. Like the writing was really good. Like the dialogue all like sounded really, really natural. All of the performances are great. Like I couldn't think of like a bad one in it. Robert De Niro's in it as well, and
Yeah,
he's
Robert
really,
De
really
Niro's the dad.
like this like OCD father of Bradley Cooper. It's really, really good. Really great performances. The music is also like quite like haunting at points as well, and it really like nicely reflects the way that the characters are feeling. So when they're feeling excited and elated, it's like nice and inspiring, and when they're feeling like really down, it's like not sad music, but like I said, like haunting. The music's great. The camera work is a bit weird sometimes, but like it's not anything that bad. It's just a good film. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I agree.
X-Men, that's what she was in between those films. She came back as Mystique.
Oh yeah, I forget she's in that because she's just so plain and.
That came out this week, that trailer.
For Dark Phoenix.
That looks pretty good.
Film is
Really?
Film.
It
Does
just
it, though?
screams Last Stand, because that's what they did for Last Stand, and it's the same writer for Last Stand as well.
It's going to be.
Oh, is
bad.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Same
I'm
guy.
automatically less excited now.
I'm kind of glad it's actually coming out, but
Finally, it's like the
Finally.
third reshoot.
but like, where's New Mutants?
Oh,
New
that's gone.
We got
That's been axed.
Has
now.
it been axed?
It was
'Cause
released.
The first trailer for New Mutants was in like 2016.
Yeah, so that's been axed, and so has the X-Force Deadpool 2 spin-off film.
Oh.
That's gone as well. Basically, every single Fox film that had a Marvel character is gone. There was a Doctor Doom film, that's gone. Silver Surfer, that's gone.
But they're keeping the vampire Jared Leto one.
Oh, that's owned by Sony.
Oh, that's Sony.
So Sony are fine, because Marvel haven't bought Sony yet, but they're close.
They're close. Soon Disney will own everything. Pretty sure Disney own Brayford Radio, don't they?
Oh my god, Mickey's got a gun. Who haven't we annoyed? We've annoyed, not the Illuminati, what are they called?
We haven't annoyed anyone because no one listens.
So much stuff's been axed this week that's come out. The second World War Z film, or Z film as it should be said, that was axed. That was going to be directed by David Fincher.
I wanted to see that. A zombie movie by David Fincher. That would have been really
A sequel
weird.
zombie film by David Fincher.
Wasn't
as
the
well.
reason that was axed because like it was the cost of it was spiraling out of control?
Yeah, because
like,
the first
it was
one
costing like a lot of money or something.
Yeah, the first one was ridiculous of like because it had to go through
A
so
lot.
many reshoots. Same with
Oh, maybe
Dark
that's what I'm
Phoenix.
thinking of then.
Well, that's the reason they was like, well, it was so problematic, and now David Fincher, the guy who does so much subtle CGI you won't notice it, wants to do a big zombie,
film.
which I reckon he would have done close to the books, which is just loads of little short stories, which I thought they would have done, or maybe they should do it as a TV show. You know, they would have been better for that. I think, like a better.
I think it'd be really
Walking
good as
Dead.
like a 10-part like series.
Yeah.
But that's gone. This is going to be the last Fox X-Men film, Dark Phoenix.
Good.
They're wrapping it up, and that's why in the trailer we think Mystique is killed.
Yeah, Mystique. It's pretty obvious that
Yeah.
Mystique is killed in the trailer.
I think she doesn't. Also, the actress Jennifer Lawrence doesn't want to be in them anymore.
Yeah, because they've gone. Well, Apocalypse was terrible.
Yeah. Oh, and there's no mention at all to Hugh Jackman or the Wolverine or anything in this film.
Because he's not
completely
doing it
retired
anymore.
at all.
Completely retired.
But
He
they're
said
not-
the
yeah.
only way he'd ever come back is if they did a Deadpool Wolverine one, but they're not going to do that now that they've axed the Deadpool.
They've
movies.
axed it. However, the writers at Marvel, there have been alleged like mentions of.
But would
Deadpool.
would Disney or Marvel ever allow an 18 rated
Well,
film?
this is the thing. There's reports for the Black Widow film, which is getting directed by the director of the first John Wick film. Oh god, I can't remember the writer now. Is going to be R-rated, and
But
the only
is-
reason
is
they're
that
pushing
report-
for
is
it.
that reports? Is that like the writers and the director being like, "Hey, we're going to make an R-rated Black Widow film," and then next week it'll be like Marvel will go, "Hey, no, you're not. It's going to be 12A, so everyone can see
You see,
it."
I think 5 years ago, yeah, they would have gone, no, let's just do a PG one. But after what has been like the success of it and the fact that now they're going to do more female-led films, I don't think they would risk doing a watered-down version of like what can be quite a dark character. Like the stuff they showed in Age of Ultron, which they could only hint at, like all the really dark
Yeah.
stuff you had to do, which is basically Red Sparrow, the film.
Yeah, Red Sparrow.
Basically that. I don't think we're going to get. If we do, it would be like a 15. I don't think we'll go to PG. Just because also the director's history with kind of violent films.
All I'll say is,
Why would you waste that?
I'll believe it when I see it, which I doubt we will, but hopefully. It's like Deadpool. For ages I didn't believe it was actually going to be 18 until like a couple of weeks before it came out. I was like, okay, wow, they must be sticking with it.
And if not, 2
The
cuts.
thing is, though, like, is it going to be an 18 or just a 15? Because I feel like you have to do a lot
What did
nowadays
we
to get
get
an
for-
18 rating. I mean, like, geez, John Wick 2, where he kills multiple people with a sharp pencil,
Was
is
15.
still a 15.
Yeah, what did
like,
we
I feel
get
like you have to do
Deadpool
a lot
2
to get
as?
an 18.
Did we get Deadpool
I
as?
swear Deadpool was an 18 over here. Was it?
Because I know it's much stricter in America. I mean, they're like, ooh.
No, because the thing with America is that they just have R,
There's
which
a
is
lot
the
of
equivalent
problems
of
with America.
like a 15 or an 18, because the next rating up is like an X, I think it is, which is basically just like saved for porn, because nothing else ever gets that high.
DMX gets that high.
Both the Deadpools were 15s over here, so maybe
Yeah.
15.
I
I think the
Black Widow.
uncut version might have been an 18, but I'm not sure. I know the uncut version of 2 was an 18, but that's because they like really graphically showed the Italian woman cutting her wrists, and
right.
it was like really graphic, and so that's why it was an 18. But like the rest of the film, like, you know, it's a 15.
Fair enough. the only other bit of news I can vaguely remember off the top of my head, since we're kind of on that weird train now. Fans of Transformers and people who hate Michael Bay, good news. That Bumblebee film, even though for the entire press release and up to now they've gone, no, it's not a reboot. Oh, please, no, it's not a reboot. It's a reboot.
Yeah, of course it
now
is.
it made past its budget like 4 times, and it's really good. People are like, yeah, Travis Knight's going to direct all of them, and he nailed it. It's really well done. It's fun. It's not got Shia LaBeouf screaming no for like 20 minutes.
But is it going to be the same where everyone went, oh, Transformers, that was really good, I want a sequel, and then the sequel comes out, 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 and they're all the same? And
No, they've said what they're going to do with it is... So I don't know if you saw Bumblebee. It focuses on 2 bad guys, 1 good guy, and they said that's the formula they want to work with the spin-off. So Bumblebee, at the end of Bumblebee, spoilers, is they do the whole bit from the first film where all the Transformers are falling from the sky.
Mm-hmm.
They do that, but spoilers, Prime is already on Earth with Bumblebee, and you see the other ones. And they said we're going to do the original 80s cast, and they're going to do more of like a fun romp type thing instead of the world's going to die.
It's going to die.
Sam
Chicago's going to explode.
Yeah, and they're doing another spin-off film with Prime, Optimus Prime, but not on Earth, on space, with him.
On space.
On space.
It's a good location.
Because if you do watch the Transformers film, if you don't have to care about it, just watch the first 10 minutes because they do Cybertron, and it's just colour.
Wait, is that only in the first 10 minutes?
Well, no,
I was hoping that was going to be like a solid half hour.
They cut. Well, you should, when you see it, you'll see how much like money had gone into that shot. It's an all CG. If you ever played the games War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron,
I played Fall of Cybertron.
it's that. It's amazing. It's that with like every colour of the rainbow. It's really cool, and that's what they're going to do for the sequels.
All 7 colours of the
all
rainbow.
7 colours. There's every single colour.
Wow.
Wow.
Richard of York gave battle in vain.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good. Good news for that because I hate the Michael Bay films. They're really trash.
The first one's good.
The first one is acceptable.
There are some really good bits in the first one, but I watched it the other day and someone pointed out to me that it is just Shia LaBeouf screaming for 20 minutes, and there is a bit where he's just screaming no, 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 over and over again. It's awful.
Yeah.
Apart from that bit where they all meet up and you see Optimus Prime transform front on, that's the best bit. The rest of it's just whoop, downhill.
We love a good old children's cartoon being reused for money.
Yeah, pretty much. But hey, if it's good, I don't care.
Transformers, TMNT, Power Rangers. What other ones are they doing?
I don't think they're doing another G.I. Joe film, which I thought...
Oh, God, I remember the G.I. Joe ones now.
I think they should
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
they made a sequel to it, didn't they?
I thought-
And
I
no
read
one
the
cared
sequel.
about it.
The trouble is, if you watch the sequel, it's better. There's some better bits in it than the first one.
Mm.
It's one of those
I
ones
mean, it
that's
didn't
like...
take much though, did it?
No, but it's like, oh, go on, just keep going. If you make all these Transformers films, at least have like an action-y, military thing over these really naff storylines about these robots. But, anyhow.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, and they've
you
cancelled
watch
all the Michael Bay TMNT films. They were
Good.
going to make another one. They're
Just
not doing
leave
those.
it alone. Just leave it alone. Just leave it.
That's what your mother said to you, wasn't it? Just leave it alone, Nick. It'll fall off.
What a joke. Watched anything else this week?
I've started rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine because they've just added Series 5 to Netflix.
Yeah.
And I forgot
Yeah, I
how
saw that, and it's
good
not
it
on
is.
American Netflix.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is very good.
Like the first episode is completely different to the rest of the series, but it is just great. Andy Samberg's amazing. He's great in it.
I'm going to be the first. Well, probably not the first to say this, but I don't like Andy Samberg.
Oh, you cannot like him in other things, but I just think he's really good in this. Like his character,
He's
his
bearable,
dynamic with stuff.
but in
I
my
think is good.
opinion, he's the worst part of Brooklyn Nine-Nine
Really?
by far. I love everyone else, but he's like bearable. But I'm like, which is like really strange. But I don't know why. I just don't like Andy Samberg.
I guess he can grate some people the wrong way, but
He grates me the wrong way.
I think it's one of those things where he is character, like how no one could.
His character fits in really
Yeah.
well, and the dynamic really works. But him,
I know, but I
it's
think
like,
that him that you're thinking of is part of that character. Like how Jim Carrey, when he's like prime Jim Carrey, if you were near him, you'd want to blow your brains out. But now he's like become serious, and he's got a beard. You're like, oh, this is the real Jim Carrey. After he did that interview, have you seen the interview with Jim Carrey, where he talks how there wasn't like a real version of him? It was just his characters constantly like being.
Yeah.
It's like that. I imagine that, but less to a serious degree for Andy Samberg. Well, I hope so anyway, because I just want more Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I hope he doesn't go off the deep end.
Hopefully not. I mean, it got cancelled, but
I
then
mean, it'd be
brought back,
confirmed
so-
for like season 7, is it now?
Yeah.
I think that was one of the dumbest
Season
moves
6 is
in
airing in
television.
America at the moment.
I did love though. They cancelled it and then immediately someone else.
Yeah.
HBO bought it.
No.
No, it's
NBC.
Hulu.
NBC. Or Hulu.
NBC.
Yeah. Then they just went.
Yeah, because
"No,
I'd
we'll
be
have that."
tempted to buy Hulu just for it. Because it's only like, I think it's like $6 a month. It's like
Do you not
actually
get, like-
surprisingly cheap.
Did you not get it on
You
like?
could get it on TV over there, Jack. It's on NBC.
Yeah.
Season 6 is on at the moment.
Where am I going to get TV from?
You not got a TV?
You not got TV?
I mean, there isn't. No, there's not really any here.
Do you have like a sport, like a
Check this guy over here.
like a
who
common
doesn't have a
room?
TV.
Like what are they like? Do you have a common
There
room?
is, but I
where you
don't
can
think
watch
there's a TV in there. I mean, there might be.
you
Like,
not
I
get,
never
like-
go in there and no one's. I don't think there is a TV actually thinking about it.
Can you get iPlayer, but like the NBC version?
Trying to think of a pun for that. I can't really
No.
N
But anyway,
player?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, good. Watch it.
Great
You know
stuff.
what I rewatched this week?
The entire run of Only Fools and Horses.
No, that was last week.
Oh, yeah.
I rewatched Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Great
Still holds up, still amazing,
Top 3.
still great.
It's a
Top
great
3
film.
Edgar Wright films for me.
And I've been watching Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
That show is so good.
It's
Need to get onto
it's
it.
all right. It's good. It's.
I don't think it's. I'm
if you-
surprised
if
you,
you
would
like-
liked it. I thought it wouldn't be your genre at all.
Well, I love like I grew up on X-Men and that kind of thing, so I love X-Men is like one of my favorite like franchises ever. So like Umbrella Academy, I'm into it. I like it.
That's
If
fair
you
enough.
like that kind of thing, then you'll love it.
I'm surprised that it was made in terms of how saturated everything is, but I'm glad that it's something different but the same. And
Do
it's
you know
making
the
stuff.
guy? It's based off the comic book. The guy who wrote the comic book is Gerard Way, the lead singer from My Chemical Romance.
How edgy.
Wait, really? Is that
yeah.
who wrote it?
He wrote the comic book for it.
Does he still do My
Oh,
Chemical
wow.
Romance stuff?
Yeah,
or is this his new
he's
venture?
he's been writing comic books for like ages, and this is one
Oh,
of
that's
them.
cool. I'll add that to my factoids.
So yeah, interesting fact.
That's quite cool.
didn't
I
know
like
that.
the concept.
It's
I remember seeing the trailer and going, this is really weird.
I've got like a few episodes left of it. I need to finish, but yeah, it's
It's
enjoyable.
good. It's good. The use of licensed music in it is really nice.
Yeah,
I like it when licensed music is used well,
When
as
I-
opposed to
when I
just being
watched the
put in because like
What, like in
um,
Cradle to the
y-
Grave.
Yeah, right. So example, because have you seen the new Peter Rabbit?
No,
Oh, with James Corden.
Okay. Yeah, there's like I can't even remember what song it was, but there's a song that is used in that it was just purely used because it was a popular song that came out like a month before or something, and they just like put it in because it was popular. So
yeah.
like when you watch it like 2 years later, you're just like, oh, this song,
Ages
okay.
ago.
When
I can't even remember what song it was. That's
when I
how
was
forgettable it was.
watching the first episode of Umbrella Academy, and like every time a new song came on, I was like, "Damn, this is a bop."
It's all My Chemical Romance songs.
It's like the music in it is really good.
That's cool. That's what I really love about a film is they're nice, like they get the right soundtrack for the film, and it's like the character soundtrack. That's what I love. So if it's like that, I'll give it a shot.
There's a bit which uses Run Boy Run in it, and that's a really
Oh, the
good
Woodkid
bit.
song.
So yeah, that's what we've watched over the past week. Hope you've got some recommendations. Cradle to the Grave was
Yeah.
Oh no, it's awful.
Son of
Terrible film,
Son
don't
of
watch it.
Rambo. Give it a
Yeah.
watch.
Give it a watch.
The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer, Bumblebee, Lego Movie 2, all recommended.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings Playbook, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Umbrella Academy, Scott Pilgrim.
Dark
Watch
Phoenix,
them all.
don't watch it.
Watch them all. So yeah, I've been Nick.
I've been Adam.
And I've been Jack.
We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye. Remember, email us at thebargainbin@gmail.com if you've got any thoughts or questions about the show. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.